and it's about people pleasing, perfectionism, and overdrive. As I mentioned when I was first announcing this topic, I think 100% of the women that are in my community, that are in my paid programs, that are in my coaching small containers, suffer one or both of these in great extent. And so I'm doing a free training about what they are, how they arise, how they show up, and how to combat them. And I think you'll find this really useful. So come on in and let's get started. So we call these reactive tendencies. People pleasing and perfectionism are reactions to something that threaten us, that we have adopted certain behaviors to counteract or to address. And high performers, high achievers, very successful women have these sometimes in heaps of quantities. And they are behaviors that belie an unhelpful underlying belief that we want to dig up and pull up by the root, because they're not helpful tendencies for us to be using as our core operating system. Maybe you already know this. Maybe you already recognize ways in which perfectionism or people pleasing are holding you back or costing you time and energy, but maybe that it's worth it for us to explore a little bit about what these are. So I'm going to take a little time to explain what they are and what the cost is to you for keeping these in place and how to loosen their hold over you, so you can stop holding back, stop playing small, and stop reacting in ways that are not as helpful or as effective as you can be. I'm going to give you lots of tactical tips for how to handle these. Okay, so let's get into the content. When we talk about a self-limiting reactive tendency, we're talking about something that is an inner belief or an inner assumption that limits your effectiveness, that tamps down your authentic expression, and reduces your empowering leadership. Reactive tendencies are a pattern of unconscious reactive behavior, sort of like default actions running on autopilot. We almost don't even see it happening. It's so ingrained. So on one side, we have people pleasing. This is being overly compliant, being overly easygoing, being very people-oriented and a good relator, somebody who's receptive to others, caring about others, but almost to a fault, caring about what other people think, always seeking harmony, fearing conflict, fearing confrontation, but getting to collaborative compromise. Like, there are great social skills inside a people pleaser, but taken too far, we know that it drains you. Similarly, on this side, we have perfectionism. Perfectionism helps you achieve. Perfectionists have a strong work ethic. They care about their performance. We care about excellence. We care about how we do in school and our career. We're often very driven. We get results. It fuels that we are somehow giving up control and assessing what makes sense in the wider circumstances before we feel brave and courageous to opt in, because we don't want to overstep or make ourselves look stupid or overspeak. It has this lovely quality of wanting to give other people the stage, but it does mean that we feel like our efforts and our voice aren't important or don't make a difference. So it can have this aspect of us opting out, fading out, leaning out, and that's not powerful. The inner dialogue of people pleasing can sound like, I'm okay if people like me. I want everybody to be happy. I'm okay if others approve of me. It matters what other people think. I need to live up to the expectations of others in order to succeed. I can stay safe by supporting others. I like being supportive. I like being a team player. It can have this idea that, like, loyalty and harmony and going along to get along, just as long as everybody's all happy and okay, that's what we strive for. And the cost of all of this is that we never truly feel worthy. That's what people pleasing, that's the characteristics of people pleasing. That resonates for you. You can say, that's me. Like, if you see yourself in that description, no shame, just see that that's part of your relationship skills kind of gone on overdrive. On this side, we have perfectionism. The whole definition of perfectionism is establishing our sense of worth and worthiness through task accomplishment and personal achievement. And it has this quality of always driving and striving for flawless results, to perform to extremely high standards in order to feel really secure and worthwhile. It has this quality of us feeling like our security and worthiness is equated with being perfect and not making a mistake, and performing heroically beyond all expectations as a part of our self-concept. It's really exhausting. It also can be prone to being overdriven, like in overdrive all the time, accomplishing a great deal via hard work, or always outperforming ourselves, having a high degree of work ethic, almost being unbalanced or workaholic. And very self-critical. People who are perfectionists are often never satisfied with their best product. It feels like they always should do, could do, must do more. Sometimes there's procrastination because of a fear of failure or fear of getting started if it's not going to be perfect. And it can have this quality of obsessive self-analysis, of like falling into really worrying and scurrying thoughts about how you're not measuring up. If we're portraying our perfectionism on others, on our relationships, we can be critical of others and feel like our high standards apply to others. And if they're not going to be able to perform at that level, then we can be very hard on other people. Sometimes we can be a little bit dictatorial, or unwilling to delegate because we feel like our results are better and it matters. So the inner dialogue of the perfectionist can sound like results are everything, appearances matter, I need to appear extremely competent and confident, can't make a mistake, can't make a mistake, can't make a mistake. Anything less than perfect is not okay. I'm unable to delegate. It's just up to me to get it done. I have to do everything if it's going to get done right. I like it when people look up to me. I feel valuable and important when I'm looked up to. Being less than others is unacceptable, like the competitiveness of a perfectionist can appear. And failure of any proportion could equal death. Like, it's the worst thing ever to fail and fail publicly. And the cost of a perfectionist is never feeling good enough. So on the people-pleasing side, we may never feel truly worthy. On the perfectionist side, we may never feel good enough. There are many of us that hold qualities of both. You might be trying to be perfectly acceptable and pleasing to others, or using high performance tactics as a strategy to win approval. They can play off of each other, where we're struggling, striving, proving ourselves to get recognition, validation, and approval. Do you see how those can be interrelated? And both are often core to how we've succeeded thus far, how we've gotten to this level, how we've established a reputation for ourselves of being a high achiever and a high performer. So here's the essence. After about 10 minutes of describing both the people pleaser and the perfectionist, here's where they are the same. For both of these tendencies, we are in resistance or fear or working against something. We're worried about what other people think, or we're afraid of disappointing someone. We're afraid of making a mistake. We're afraid of looking foolish. We're resisting feeling rejected or humiliated or uncomfortable. And in both of these, we are giving control of our mood or our happiness or our morale or our momentum away based on how other people perceive us. So I like to call this authored by others. We're allowing our self-concept to be authored by how other people perceive us and feed that back to ourselves, also known as external validation. If people see me as perfect and high performing, if people see me as good and worthy and accepted, then I'm safe and then I know I'm okay. This is authored by others. Does that resonate for you? But both of these have us playing small because our full creative self-expression, and leadership are limited by our high need to either excel or please or both. So the solution or the challenge for both is that we need to allow our strengths to drive and flow rather than trying to fight against our weaknesses to prove ourselves or to make sure everybody thinks that we're doing okay. So the fuel underneath this is probably there's some crappy old conditioning, some negative beliefs that we've established over time that have us caught in a spell of either performing to please or performing to prove that we are good enough. Say me if that's me. Does that resonate for you? Okay, now I'm going to give you some tactics for how do you rise out of this. I've got about a half dozen ways that you can apply certain tenets, certain learnings, certain exercises to help you when you realize you're caught in a spin cycle of either people pleasing or perfectionism, and it's drawing off your mood, it's putting you in a funk. You know that you are holding yourself back, but you don't know how to break free. Are you ready? Okay. For both, whether you're a people pleaser, a perfectionist, or both, the very first tactic is to become self-aware, to recognize when these reactive tendencies are fully firing and you're caught under their spell. Sometimes it feels sort of scary to notice them because you feel like you need to change and you feel like that's going to be hard or take a lot of energy. Just notice that's your brain braining again, telling you it's easier to go along with the status quo than to try to make a change. And that's just something that all brains do. So without judgment or fear, we're just going to notice like, oh, there it is again. I'm kind of laughing meekly at jokes, or I'm eyebrows up, or I'm trying to get people to smile. I'm doing the people pleasing, or I'm hacking and grinding and striving it out. I'm like multitasking, double tasking, and overdrive, trying to make sure everything's perfectly perfect. I'm overworking, or I'm over harmonizing to make sure everybody's happy. Just noticing when those things are fully in their spin cycle is your very first to do, is to become more self-aware and recognize when they're fully firing. You got me? Number two, we learned this a little bit yesterday when I talked about the imposter syndrome and the saboteur, this idea of name it to tame it. Can you name your tendency? Can you see this as like perfect Patty or negative, nice girl Nancy? You can think about your personified portions of you as small subsets, not the whole you, but just a little reactive part of you that gets cropped up when you feel like you need to perform and you want other people's approval. Just name that tendency as if it's a little character that's running inside of your head, running the drama in your head. That's the second way. First, self-awareness, then name it to tame it. Just noticing, right? And then the third is better self-talk. If you notice yourself thinking, I wonder what they think of me, or I should have, I have to, I must, just recognize that you're choosing that talk and you need to watch the way you're speaking to yourself and choose how you want to be narrating. You can ask yourself, is that really true? Do I have to do all of this? Does it have to be perfect? Is it even possible for it to be perfect? Is it okay for me to ask a question and maybe risk looking foolish like I don't know everything? You want to ask yourself, if I'm afraid of how I'm going to come across, I'm afraid of what they think of me, is that really a true fear? Is there some unconscious assumption that I'm making that I'm not good enough? Can I challenge that? Like, what am I choosing by saying those things like, oh my God, I got to get this done, or oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Or oh my God, I have to do this. I'm afraid it's going to be not good enough. What does it serve you to have that as your narrator in your head? Notice that and speak better. Notice that's just perfect Patty or nice girl Nancy operating from a fear cycle speaking to me now. The fourth tactic I have for you is to process interrupt. Like once you're just aware and curious, like, oh, there I go. I'm doing that thing where I kind of fall silent because I'm a little bit afraid of being exposed, looking like a fraud, not being perfect, making a mistake, making somebody upset. I need to process interrupt that. So physically, I mean, like stand up from your chair if you can, if you're not in a Zoom call, stand up, move around, shift the energy, have a glass of water, go outside, feel the wind on your face, look at the sky, see different colors, like process interrupt. When you physically shift, when you're going into that default mode, it helps you break the spell and it helps you bring energy from being stuck in a rut or running on autopilot. That's for real. The fifth tactic I have for you for how you can shake things up, how you can alter these spin cycles when you're under their spell is this phrase, see life as a lab. This idea of growth mindset that there's nothing so serious going on here. This is not a do or die stakes situation. We're just trying things out. We're just in an experiment. We're just in a let's see kind of environment. If you see yourself and enable yourself and encourage yourself to see that I'm just trying some new ways of being, I'm testing new waters and seeing if it's okay, just trying doing things a little bit differently, risking a little bit more, not doing things that are a habit, then you might realize when you are in that experimental type mindset and you're trying new ways of being, when you're trying delegating or just doing iterative work or B plus work or rough draft work, really hard for the perfectionist, you might see that nothing bad happens. The whole world did not come crashing down. When you practice this more often, you start to tolerate new levels of what used to be scary to now normalize that it's just a practice. I'm just experimenting. Like sometimes I ask my clients who are really fearful of looking foolish or being humiliated or having a stupid question, I actually challenge them to ask 3 stupid questions a day. It makes their hair curl at first, but it helps them break the resistance to being seen or being foolish, and it helps them see that nothing bad happens, that it's actually part of participating more fully, and that often it brings a more positive outcome, more collaboration, more inclusion, more discussion, more solutioning, more brainstorming, more ideation, more innovation. When we flex our own resistance a little bit to allow ourselves to be more vulnerable and to try new ways. Do you see how that could work? You start learning to have your own back as you're being brave. And that's a very useful skill. You start building more self-trust and you start growing your capacity for things not being so rigid and under control. All right, so I think I'm on the sixth tactic now. This one's called rise above. Just decide that for me to really try to break free of old reactive tendencies, I'm going to need to let go of some things. I like the image of, on a playground, the monkey bars or the rings, that if you're going to actually progress from one side to the other, you have to let go of one ring as you swing and reach for the next one. You can't just get stuck. You'll end up dropping to the ground. So you have to keep momentum. You have to keep moving. You have to keep reaching. You have to keep stretching. And that's part of this rise above, trying new things. If you don't try new things, if you don't try relaxing your standards or try new ways of being, there will be a cost that robs others of their full potential, especially if you're a leader on the team. If you're a people pleaser and you're constantly making things easy on others, you're not letting them take ownership. You're overly managing their experience, and that keeps them from their own growth by risking and seeing what their results might be. On the other side, if you're a perfectionist and you're overly controlling the outcome, you might not develop others because you won't collaborate or grow or delegate to others so that they can also be trying things. You're holding on to too much. So we want to see that this isn't relaxing standards. It's not becoming low performing. It's not being willing to disappoint others. It's not thinking like I'm now going to be lazy. It's actually calming that whirling dervish inside that has you overdoing. Both people pleasing and perfectionism can lead us to overdrive, can lead us to working very long hours, can lead us to really hurrying and scurrying to try to make sure everybody thinks well of us and that we're doing an exceptional job beyond all expectations to please and perform. But we need to let go of some of that so that we can calm ourselves inside and take a broader view, take sort of the 10,000-foot view. When you're hurrying and scurrying, when you're running on a wheel, things are right up against your face. You're working with a sense of urgency, not with a sense of broad vision. This is the image that I like to call forth of the conductor of the orchestra, not the individual contributor, not the musician, but the person that is rising up and standing in front of everyone to lead, to allow others to play their part. We don't run around and as the conductor, as the director of the orchestra and try to play the violin and play the flute and play the drums and play the trombone and like a crazy person. No, we realize it's a symphony and we actually have to release everyone to their own part to play, and that it's not all about us and how we look. We're not here to fix everything and do everything and play everything. We need to take on a new identity of actually releasing some of the doing to the partners that we work with. That might be a really challenging experience for those of you who are really wedded to being the doer, for having the lock grip, to having the control, for not feeling like you're able to release or to delegate or to not have that sense of like it's all up to me. Okay, so that is essentially, in a nutshell, what we're talking about. People pleasing and perfectionism both have their inner gestation, their beginning, their foundational points based on our fear of what other people think and our identity of how hard we drive ourselves to either make other people like us, accept us, not reject us, or not be humiliated or fail or fall on our face or look like we're not competent. So if that deeply resonates for you, if you feel seen, if you feel like, oh yeah, that was me, I totally resonate with that, there's nothing that has gone wrong. Those are types of socially adopted skills that we've used to get us this far. They both have very deep roots in high performance and impressing others and being a star, really. So nothing has gone wrong. The only challenge is, what will you do from here?